Teams, and we are being live streamed. Today we are dealing with the matter at Front Garden 28A, Colville Road, West 11 2BS. I am Janet Evans, Counselor and Chair of Licensing. I confirm I have no declarations to make in regard to this item. I'm joined by Councillor Dori Schmetterling and Abdullahi Noor. Councillors, can you please introduce yourself and make any relevant declarations?
Okay, I'll say I'm Dori Schmetterling, Councillor for Pembridge Ward, which is on the edge of the just outside the Carnival footprint. I have no declaration of interest to make.
Thank you. Councillor Noor.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Councillor Abdullah Noor. I see on Golborne Ward. I have no interest to declare on this case.
Excellent. We are also joined by Paul Phelan from the Council's licensing team. Paul, are you here?
I hope you can hear me okay.
And our legal advisor, Lindsay Lemasurier, please confirm.
Present, Chair.
Thank you. Committee officers, Holly Weaver, Tommy Hanmer, and Yusuf Allo, please.
We're all present, Chair. Thank you.
Chair, your screen has frozen. I don't know if you're speaking at the moment, but your screen is definitely frozen.
She won't be able to hear you if the screen's frozen, I think.
That's true. I'll send her a message.
Oh yes, she's disappeared.
We need to do a substitute chair as well before we start.
I'll try and help her back in.
Yeah, if you could, thank you.
I suppose while we wait, can I ask Jude Millet? May I ask what is?
Yes.
Who are you there for? I mean, you have to go around formally in a minute, but while we're waiting, I just thought I'd check informally. What's your connection?
Sorry.
We haven't got you on the list.
My computer just decided to update in the middle of the meeting, so we're now doing this on my phone. I'm sure, Jude, because you're young, you're used to doing the whole world on your phone.
I'm completely fine with that.
Okay, thank you. And I was just going to say that if the next part was that if my computer crashes and I lose connectivity, that we elect Councillor Dori Schmetterling as our substitute chair. But here I am. And I'm on full battery on the phone, so that's good. Okay. So, Councillor Noor, do you approve appointing Councillor Schmetterling as a substitute?
I'm happy to second it, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Before we start the hearing, there are a few ground rules. Please keep your mics on mute until you're invited to speak. Please make sure mobile phones are on silent. Please do not use the chat function as it's not monitored. Everyone should have received the procedure for this meeting regarding the use of cameras and how to connect back in if you lose connection. Thank you. The procedure of the meeting has been circulated with the papers. However, in summary, I confirm, firstly, the licensing officer, Mr. Feeling, will give a brief outline of the 10. Then I will ask the premises user, Jude Millet, to present. Then the committee will ask Mr. Millet questions. The police will ask questions, and our legal advisor will ask him questions. Then the police will present. Mr. Rankin is presenting, I assume. And
Correct.
okay. Then questions will be asked of the police by the committee, the premises user, and our legal officers. So no one is speaking from environmental health today?
That's correct, Chair. They're unable to be here today, but they would like you to accept their written submission they sent in advance. Thank you.
Yes. All read that. Okay. I will then, and how do we deal with it? There will be no questioning then. Is that correct?
Correct,
I'm
Chair.
afraid not today.
Okay. Good. Mr. Feeling, can you outline the 10 for us?
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Mrs. Diana Martin has submitted a temporary event notice for a temporary licensable event to be held on Sunday the 24th and Monday the 25th of August 2025 between the hours of midday and 7 p.m. each day. Mrs. Martin proposes to use the front garden of 28A Colville Road for the sale of alcohol for consumption off the premises. A copy of the temporary event notice and supporting documentation can be found at Appendix A of today's report. This notification has attracted an objection from PC Janelle Cardenas of the Metropolitan Police on the grounds of the prevention of crime and disorder and public safety. A summary of this representation is provided on page 6 of the report with the full objection attached at Appendix B. Additionally, Mr. Philip Richardson, a Principal Environmental Health Officer for RBKC Noise and Nuisance, has objected on the grounds of public safety. A summary of his representation is included on page 7 of the report with the full objection attached at Appendix C. Extracts from the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy are attached at Appendix D. The premises is located within Colville Ward. A map of the area is attached as Appendix E, with a list of licensed premises within the vicinity attached as Appendix F. A map of the 2024 Carnival footprint indicating the parade route, location of sound system, bars, street trading sites, safe areas, and other matters is attached as Appendix G. This is for illustrative purposes only. The map for 2025 has yet to be finalised. A list of temporary event notices received so far for this year's Carnival is attached at Appendix H. This excludes notices which have been withdrawn or issued a counter notice. Some of the notices may also be under consideration still, Chair. Finally, I can confirm that an additional bundle was shared at the request of the Metropolitan Police. This email contained a map of Sector 3, along with supporting crime statistics. That concludes the summary of this notification, Chair. I'll leave it there for now. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Phelan, we had a couple of, if you could clarify, there were some discrepancies in the address.
My apologies for interrupting you there, Chair, please.
Yeah, so if you could just explain it to us. Councillor Schmetterling, did you want to elaborate there briefly?
Yes, okay. The front of the report, page, somewhere around page 6 or something, it refers to flat 128 Colville Road, but that entrance is not next to or that near to the actual entrance of 28A Colville Road. I mean, both are on Colville Terrace, but the notice giver has stated it's 28A, and there's clearly a garden gate there, whereas at flat 128 there isn't. So I'm just wondering how you arrived at flat 128.
It would be very difficult for me to comment on the reference to the flat 128 Colville Road. I'm not too sure why that's appeared on page 6 of the report. What I can confirm is that the licensable area sought via this temporary event notice is 28A Colville Road, and that's the front garden area. Again, I can only apologise for its reference on page 6. I can see it now myself, Councillor Schmetterling. I'll take that away and make sure it's consistency going forward.
I guess we can note that when we issue the full decision in the minutes, we can just note that there was just an error correction.
But yeah, just to be clear, it's definitely 28A Colville Road that is sought for licensable activities. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
See, Mr. Millay is nodding, so that's correct then. Thank you for that. That's very helpful. Now we will have the premises users case. Mr. Millay, your turn.
Hi, I believe this is this the 10 minutes that I get to discuss
Yes.
the event itself? Well, it's lovely to meet you all, and I'll get straight into it. So this is an event that we ran successfully 2 years ago, and that we submitted a 10 for this year to rerun as part of 2025 Carnival. I was somewhat surprised to be objected, but it seems that understandably risk mitigation is being taken a little bit more seriously by police and the carnival licensing team, which is a really good thing. But I'm gonna surmise the objections. I'm gonna split this presentation up into 4 subsections. I'm gonna give a summation of the objections given by the police. I'm gonna go through our current risk mitigation and event management plan, including a direct focus on overcrowding and pinch points, which was highlighted many times by the police objection. I'm gonna show how this plan adequately addresses the concerns raised in the objection, and then I'm going to talk about our previous event and how it was successful and contributed meaningfully in a cultural and contributed meaningfully to the 2023 Notting Hill Carnival, and why it'd be a shame for it not to happen again. So the objection that was given by Janelle was largely focused on 4 points. It was focused on overcrowding, the link between alcohol and violence in the Notting Hill Carnival, that our event should be maybe classed as street trading, and 4th and lastly, that the event doesn't fit into the current plans of the Notting Hill Carnival limited organisers. So the first one is understandable, and this is what I'm going to talk about first. Is this overcrowding and pinch points, and I'd like to go through kind of how the event will actually work and try and show that it really is less of a issue than was raised by the Metropolitan Police. So we'll set up on Sunday morning in preparation for 12. The site will be arranged as is in the attached. In the attachments, there will be a table set up behind the front door gate, which is locked. The entire premise will be boarded by 3.5 meter high boarding, which has already been put in place organizationally. There's no chance of kind of anyone getting into the premise over this boarding. It's solid. It's tried and tested. It's the same boarding that goes up all around everywhere, and that wants to kind of like protect themselves from the main carnival football. And alcohol will be sold through the gate. So the purchase of the alcohol will be made on the premise technically, and then once the payment goes through, it's strictly poured out cans of Red Stripe that will be sold through the gate and to be consumed off the license. None of the team will be impeding the street, obstructing the footfall in any way. The whole operation will happen within the 28A front garden, and there'll be 4 team members, all highly trained in hospitality and bar work, highly experienced. There will be no obstruction from our side whatsoever. Now, the queue, which was the big point of interest here when it comes to pinch points and overcrowding, we've got some strict management criteria. Now, I sent over to the RBKC licensing and to the Metropolitan Police a full detail outlining how the queue will be managed and how the overcrowding will be mitigated. But essentially, the 3 criteria that it has to stick by is that it will be no more than 5 meters in length, which is the length of the property which faces Colville Road. It'll be no more than, so it will never leave the outside of our property. It will not exceed 10 persons long, and it must carry out alongside the Colville Road facing part of the property. If any of these criteria are broken, then the event will be temporarily shut down until the queue is as we want it. And seeing as the site is completely boarded off and within our control, it's very easy to do. We put the board that's designed for the gate back where it's meant to be, over the gate, and no one can enter, communicate, have any sort of kind of interaction with any of the site members, which pretty much will dissipate any excess queues that are already forming. They'll see that there's no drinks to be bought. and that they'll go back. And yeah, there's another thing that I would really like to highlight here is that it was brought up the location of this the bar would be significantly problematic, I think is the wording that was used, because it was positioned between two stages, the Rampage stage and the Nasty Love stage. Now the Nasty Love stage is directly over the road, and that is completely undeniable. But the Rampage stage, which is, to my knowledge, the only kind of other bar in the area that will be serving alcohol, the Rampage stage, it looks on the map as though it is in the direct area of where we would be selling of the 28A Colville Terrace. However, it's a bit of a misrepresentation. I think there's been a misunderstanding here when looking at the map, because the Rampage stage faces the Talbot Road instead of the Colville Terrace. There isn't an entrance from Colville Terrace onto the Rampage stage. There's just an entrance from the Talbot Road, which means that we wouldn't be getting the footfall from the Rampage stage coming between Nasty Love and Rampage, which was the proposed pinch point, that people would be both coming from Rampage and Nasty Love to our bar, creating a pinch point. Whereas this is kind of just, it's a little bit of a misunderstanding here. We would just be getting the footfall from the Nasty Love, and it wouldn't be transitory. So there would be no people trying to get to a location through our bar. So any queues that were in the way, which are directly out of the way of the Colville Road strip on the Colville Terrace strip, the queue would be on the Colville Road, leading to a kind of exit area of the carnival, which is pretty much as out of the way as you can get.
Mr. Millay, you have 3 more minutes.
3 more minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of the concerns are addressed almost by osmosis there with the event plan. In the 3 minutes, I'll talk about our previous event. We created a whole risk assessment and event management plan with PC Jason Rose 2 years ago. He was extremely helpful, extremely lovely, and he put his trust in us, along with the RBKC licensing team and the Notting Hill Carnival Limited. They put their trust in us to actually sell some alcohol, have a successful creative private venture, which was funded by a festival that we ran earlier in the summer. We didn't provide any entertainment. The queues never got out of hand in that one thing. The trust was repaid by a seriousness that we brought to the event. And in turn, nothing went wrong at all. It was as smooth sailing as you could possibly imagine. No one tried to breach the gate. No one tried to breach the boards. No one got rowdy. It was an extremely smooth sailing event. I think that was helped by the fact that Nasty Love isn't like some of the stages that you get up north, which are up in the north end of Carnival. It's much more old timey reggae. It's disco. It's soulful. It's a completely different atmosphere in the south of the Carnival, where we're proposing to be setting up this event. There's the exit right on the Colville Road. So, I mean, it's already much less densely populated than any other areas. I mean, if you guys have been to the Carnival, you'll know how it's a much more relaxed atmosphere around the Colville side compared to up near Trellick Tower. And having been to the Carnival pretty much every single year since I was about 5 years old, as I live pretty much on it. I think I have the knowledge required, and also the past expertise in place to actually carry out a successful event, which would not be disruptive and could in fact actually alleviate stress from the Rampage bar, from the Nasty Love stage. That might be my final note, actually. If you're worried about pinch points, the Talbot Road is much busier than the Colville Terrace, Colville Road area, because of the fact that the Rampage stage goes onto the Talbot Road. So if people are looking to buy drinks from Nasty Love, they're going to go round the Talbot Road corner into that Colville Terrace and try and get to the front and buy drinks from the Rampage stage, where we could alleviate some of that pressure by having people come over and buy drinks from our small operation across the road. Thank you so much.
Okay, Councillor Schmetterling.
Thank you. I suppose the first question is to, well, Mr. Millay started saying it earlier, but let's ask the question again. What is your connection to the premises user or the
Sorry.
notice giver?
Yeah, Diana Martin's my grandmother, and she lives in Colville, 28A Colville Terrace. She'll be on the premise during the event, and I'm representing her in this meeting today because she can't work out how to get Teams on her phone. So I'm representing her on that matter. But that's my relation, is that I'm the grandson. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll be there all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's the question of the number of people you want to be serving or queuing. I was a bit unclear, and maybe it was a typo by the people who prepared the report, but it does say 4 at the top on page 6 of the pack. Well, I presume you've got the pack as well. Yet
that's the number of
else,
staff.
Doesn't okay. Well, that will have to be clarified in the minutes that it's staff, but it the way it's written, it says, because 10 I think is the number of. What's the 10? Is that staff plus attendees, plus customers, or only customers?
Well, the question that was, because that was the question on the form, which how many people will be on the premise. I think the question was how many people will be on the premise during the duration of the 10, and seeing as we'll only have workers on the premise during the event, that's 4 of our staff working the event.
I think we have to tidy up the way the question is put, I think.
Yeah.
By the way,
I was deliberating over that when I was answering, but I thought it was safer to go with strict people on the premise. Like there won't be people coming in and out of the gate. It's securely.
And did your grandmother, Mrs. Martin, has she issued a 10 before? You said 2 years ago?
She issued the 10. So me and her worked with the police and the RBKC licensing team 2 years ago, but she submitted it under her name. I think just for kind of bureaucratic reasons. I think it was easier for her to submit it as the premise owner.
Okay, thanks very much. I think that's all I have at the moment.
Sure. Councillor Noor?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The 4 staff you have, I mean, can you break it down for us, those who will be selling the alcohol?
Yeah.
And those who are managing the queue? Yeah.
Okay. So it will be me and my father and my grandmother, who will be, well, I mean, that we're the owners of the premise. Well, as close as you can get owners of the premise, apart from my grandmother, will be managing the queues, genuinely just by the threat of, if the queue isn't orderly and it doesn't get, and if it gets rowdy or more than 10 persons long, 10 persons or 5 meters long, then the operation will be shut down. That's the queue management situation, and people really can't do anything if we decide to shut it. Like there's no way into the entrance. So if we say, like, this is getting too much, we're going to put up the barrier, they can't do anything. It's a pretty, people want their beer. I think they'll kind of snap out of it and be like, okay, let's do this let's do this queue thing that they want us to do. With regards to the bar staff, they're 4 colleagues of mine from when I worked at the RAC, and well, actually a mix of that, and when I completed the European bartending course maybe 4 years ago now, and they're all trained, qualified bartenders who know the Challenge 25. They know exactly how to deal with intoxicated clients. They know how to deal with underage clients. They're all of the people have 3 years on and off experience in bars and hospitality. We're all very comfortable making and selling drinks to people who want them. That's the background.
Thank you. My other question is, did you have any street trading license?
Did I have any what, sorry?
A street trading license.
No,
No.
I don't think. I think it classifies directly under the off-premise license, as
That's
the
fine.
purchase of alcohol will be made on the site to be consumed off premises, and as none of the staff or anyone within the event is going to be actually on the street or impeding any part of the street like you need for a street trading license, it falls under an off-premise 10 rather than a street trading license, because all of the transaction is done on the premise to be consumed off the premise.
That's helpful. Thank you. In terms, I mean, we know, I mean, Carnival attracts lot of people to come to the area,
Mm.
and the police and environmental concern is public safety, and in terms of overcrowding. So your mitigation, as I understand, from your end is when there's a lot of people who are queuing, or there's a people who are drunk or coming back to you, you will shut down, but you will not be having any security. Yeah.
No, I think security in this specific event would actually, I mean, it would have no net negative gain. If anything, it might even have a net no net positive gain. It might even have a net negative gain, because the police, if we were to have security, they'd be standing outside the premise, which means that we wouldn't be able to get to them. They wouldn't be able to get back into us because the whole premise is locked off. So they would kind of be on their own and at liable risk. If any drunk person needs a scapegoat, it's going to be the security. I think that would really just inflame a kind of disruption there. If we had someone being, people can shout at us or get annoyed, but they can't do anything because we've got a locked gate and 3.5 meters of boarding up, which means that if we want to stop the operation, we just say goodbye card reader, goodbye beers, you're not getting anything.
All right.
Head off, and they're left there like lemons in that situation. The security. Yeah.
My last question is, you've done it before back in 2023.
Yeah.
Have you consulted this year the police and environmental services before you make this application?
So I made a previous application, and I was in contact with PC Mark Perry, I believe. And I gave him a call to see if there was kind of anyone that I can get in touch with more generally than just a specific person that was dealing with my with an application, to kind of run through the temporary events notice. And I sent out my plan, risk assessment, event management plan, overcrowding and pinch point mitigation plan, along with the site map and a kind of rundown of everything that we had done last year, 2 years ago, to I think AW.Metropolitan Police thing. And I think I waited a good 5 working days, which is what you need to get a response, but I didn't have any advice given to me. So I thought that the previous advice that I'd got from Jason Rose 2 years ago was kind of it was ample to really move on and just kind of submit the application with the knowledge that the RBKC licensing team had trusted me before, the police had trusted me before. Hopefully there's some good history there that I could have worked with, but no direct
Consultation.
No direct consultation. That's the right word. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. That's my questions.
Okay, my committee did well. Mr. Malay, I'm just trying to envision what you're up to there. So you said it's 3 meters high, the fence?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have 3 meters hoarding, and then you just have a door that's locked.
Yeah.
So how do you get people in there to buy beer?
So if you look, have you seen the picture of the front gate and then the picture of the boarding that I sent over? So, well, the boarding is around the gate. Yeah, that's the exact one. Thank you. So the gate is locked, and on either side there's boarding that's 3 meters high, and we'll have a table directly behind that gate with a card reader on, and someone's standing saying, "Hi, would you like 1 beer or 2 beers?" Blah blah blah, and they say, "Can I have 2 beers, please?" They tap the card reader, buy the alcohol while the alcohol's still on the premise, and then they get handed the beer through the gate and consume the alcohol off premise. That's the operation.
And you'll have some signage so people know you're in there?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have, what we did last year was we painted the boards on either side, just saying Red Stripe, or £4 for one, 12 pounds for 5, or something like that. And people came and queued, and we said, "Can you wait round Colville Road?" And they did. And people were generally quite nice. People wanted their drink, and they wanted it. They weren't too interested in starting a ruckus. They wanted to get back to the music. They would come, they'd pay for their drink, and then head off. It was a pretty swift.
Okay, and you are, I hope you're raising your prices this year.
No. We quite like keeping it quite cheap. All of the drinks in Carnival have got so ridiculously expensive, and it's quite sad to see. Actually, it's like become quite commercial. I don't know, but maybe we will raise them a little bit.
I have a reason for saying that, because if you're selling 5 beers for £12, people will just be loading up and loading up.
Yeah, it's true.
If you sold 5 beers for 20, you might have more crowd control. It's just a licensing thing.
That's a very, I will actually take that on board. We were actually talking on raising the prices for one reason only: to donate back to charities that work within the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea. My mum used to be, I think, a committee member at some point, maybe quite long ago, but she's still in touch with a lot of the charities which deal with young children and creativity within within the RBKC. I mean, it's an area where I've grown up in, and I really have a strong feeling towards. So yeah, it could be a double whammy: give a little bit back and crowd control by raised prices. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, you don't want to undercut the supermarkets, or you're really almost violating licensing policy.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I allowed to say that, legal advisor?
Well, it's just background information. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Now, does the legal advisor have any questions for Mr. Millay?
I don't have any.
Afterwards, I'd like to ask couple more, if I may. I was inspired by previous questions.
I was just going to clarify the street trading license situation. Then, do you want me to do that now and then pass over to you, Councillor Schmetterling?
Yeah, sure.
So, in terms of street trading, that's completely separate from the premises, the temporary event notice. And you require a street trading license if you are trading on any road or footway, or any other area within 7 metres of a road or footway that's not permanently enclosed. So you would require a street trading licence under the London Local Authorities Act, just for your information.
Okay. Could you give some more information about how I was granted the 10 licence before without a street trading licence? I submitted pretty much an identical risk event management plan.
I'm not able to answer that question because obviously I wasn't involved, but I suggest that you liaise with the licensing department, and they'll be able to refer you to whichever department deals with street trading licenses, although I'm not sure whether they are being issued this year, but it's something that you will need to investigate and cover.
And in Article H, the 10 license which are listed, I actually haven't got access to that article. It'd be quite interesting to understand a little bit more about what makes them a 10 license and not a street trading license, seeing as pretty much everything in this area is 7 meters away from a non-permanently closed road.
I presume you're talking about Appendix H. Yes. I mean, obviously, I'm not privy to that information, but there's certain criteria where a street trading license is required. So, but obviously, that's not for here. I'm just giving you background information for your own purposes.
Yeah. No, understood.
Councillor Schmetterling?
Well, one of them has just been asked, so that's fine. Thank you. I just want to clarify, there's 2 points. One is the fence height. You said 3 meters, Mr. Millay, but at one stage you said 3.5 meters. I mean, I know it's not a huge difference, but I'm just for the sake of the record, what is it?
I think it might be somewhere in between. I didn't measure them last year or the year before, but they
Okay,
are quite a ways. I mean, I couldn't reach the top of them standing, and I'm nearly 2 meters, and my arm probably adds another meter. So it's somewhere between 3 and 3.5 meters. You
All
can't
right, so we just say
you can't
about 3 meters.
reach it. Yeah, you
Okay,
can't.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So it's about 3 meters. That's fine. And the other one, just a note more, a geeky note. It's premises. A premise is something completely different. It's a common error, but it's just thought I'd let
Okay.
you know.
Yeah,
There's no
thanks.
singular. There's no official. It's a bit like sheep and sheep.
Yeah, it's a premises. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, just for the record.
No. It's perfect. I'm a bit of a pedant myself.
I think that's it from my point of view, actually. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Police, any queries?
No questions, thank you, Chair.
Okay. So now for the police objection. Mr. Rankin, can you please present for up to 10 minutes?
Yes. Thank you, Chair. You'll know the reasons that we're objecting, but Mr. Millay will not, because he has not been involved with other applications. In broad terms, this is the position that the approach that the police have taken in previous years, which will include the license granted or the permission granted to Mrs. Martin 2 years ago, was permissive. We took into account historical precedent and that sort of thing. But of late, there has been growing concern about Carnival and the increase in the numbers that attend. Sir Mark Rowley is on record indicating that he has grave concerns about Carnival this year. His belief is that it's poorly run. There are insufficient police officers to police it, and even fewer stewards this year. And for that reason, he has completely revised his approach to temporary events notices. Now, you will know that Carnival is 363 days in the planning. Notting Hill Carnival Limited has an event management plan, which they get together many months before Carnival itself. And in that event management plan, they identify every single possible risk and cover it off. All those premises, including Rampage, for example, with its temporary events notice, they're all covered off. What are not covered off are the ad hoc temporary events notice applications or notices, the like of which Mr. Millay's is. The Notting Hill Carnival Limited event plan has no idea how many of these temporary events notices are going to be made, has no idea where they're going to be, who is going to be running them, and so on. And so the police this year have sat down and have identified those temporary events notices which are in areas of concern. And it doesn't mean that every single temporary event notice application is objected to. There are 53 applications to date which have been made which have not received this objection. But those which are proximate, as this one is, to areas of great footfall, and I'm talking about the proximity to Portobello Road, those that are proximate to sound systems are applications which throw up red flags. Now, I get entirely Mr. Millay's point. He will say, well, look, we ran it 2 years ago and didn't have a problem. That was then. This is now. It is no guarantee, because Mr. Millay's grandmother was granted a temporary events notice 2 years ago, that you will be granted one this year. But the problem with pinch points, the problem with sound systems, the problem with people clamoring to buy alcohol is that it severely impedes the police's ability to police the carnival. And the more people that build up, the more occasions there are for a crowd building up outside a temporary events notice site, the more concerns the police have. And this is a case in point. Mr. Millet is saying, well, we will have a queue 5 meters long, not more than that, and not more than 10 patrons. That's aspirational. Just simply to say, well, my grandfather will be out there making sure that the queue is 5 long and no more, and that there are no more than 10 patrons is aspirational. We all know what Carnival is like, and it may be that he underestimates or downplays the importance of SIA. But in our view, it doesn't make them, it makes them people that are contributors to the well-being and the well-running of Mr. Millet's temporary event. He doesn't plan to have it. His staff will be locked inside their barricade, leaving his grandfather to the mercy of the crowd. And there is one other premises, and that is Rampage, that has a temporary events notice. And if you are to go to Mr. Millet's representation, he essentially makes my case for me. If you go to page 20, he accepts that there will be traffic between the two sound stages, which are very close to each other. Right at the top of page 20, he says, as seen on the map, the corner between Colville Terrace and Colville sits between two sound systems, Nasty Love and Rampage. This means that there is likely to be increased footfall, as Notting Hill Carnival attendees will be likely to be moving between the stages. We agree. That's exactly what we envisage happening. For this reason, we plan to direct the queue of any customers around the opposite corner down Colville Road. That doesn't help. But what we're suggesting is that you've got this traffic between the two stages, and you've got Mr. Millet in the middle, and you have the potential for crowds to build up. He acknowledges that Rampage is an extremely busy stage. This is under alleviating pressure. It's clearly a misprint. We're also aware that the only other facility serving drinks in the area will be the Rampage stage. This is an extremely busy stage, and even with an extremely well-supplied bar, it would struggle to accommodate for all the patrons at Rampage. Given that Nasty Love is on the street parallel, it would not be a stretch to assume that the bar would also be forced to accommodate for those attending the Nasty Love stage. Well, this is precisely our concern, that the more facilities that there are for the provision of alcohol. I noticed that Mr. Millet was quick to change shape when he understood the importance of your question, Chair, about the price of Red Stripe. But the more availability of alcohol, the more that you have facilities for its provision, the more concerns that we have. So last year, we had this site falls within Sector 3, and you'll recall the crime statistics in other cases that you dealt with. Last year, in 2 days, just 2 days, there were 90 offences, and that is only the reported crime. 30 of those were for drugs, 11 for violence without injury, but 6 for violence with injury, and 6 offences relating to sexual assault. And that is too many in the view of the police. Now, my sympathies lie with Mr. Millet. All he wants to do in the area that he was brought up in is do something for Carnival. We understand that. But our concerns transcend, I'm afraid, those sentimental concerns. Our concerns are to ensure that Carnival is a good and a safe Carnival. And at the moment, we believe that the grant of a temporary events notice to Mr. Millet will compromise the prevention of crime and disorder licensing objective. 25.11, I've reminded you about on other occasions. We are your principal source of information and intelligence on crime and disorder. And when you have a combined experience in the operations room of 150 years of policing Carnival, and when those experienced officers are saying, please issue a counter, do not allow this to go ahead, then we would suggest that that is a voice that you should listen to. And 25.11, paragraph 25.11, urges you to look at the consequences of not following the advice of the police. So those are my submissions. I've got Janelle here to help me or with any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. Okay, any questions from the committee? Councillor Schmetterling?
Yeah, I've basically, I suppose, one at this stage. And that is, in short, Mr. Rankin, you do not accept the argument that selling some alcohol at this address, 28A Cole Road, that draws away potentially some of the crowds. I mean, I admit it's I suppose speculation, but it would draw away some of the crowds waiting to get a drink at the soundstage, at the sound system. You don't buy that argument?
We don't buy that argument. What it does is create 2 pinch points where there was only one.
Okay, thanks. That's it. Thank you.
Councillor Noor?
Yeah, just one question. Mr. Rankin, I mean, if it's not what they propose, but I mean, if they have to have SIA or security to manage the crowd, will that change your position?
Janelle, what's your position on security?
I wouldn't be in agreement to that, Councillor. The security, you'll never know how much security you would need, because you just can't anticipate how many people would be in a queue, and we would not be in a position to say to Mr. Millais, you need this amount of security. So that would be a no.
Thank you.
Okay, would you say, Mr. Rankin, that the way it is set up with very high hoarding and a door that's locked, that is intrinsic in creating even more problems? You understand what I mean?
I rather agree. So imagine this. You've got Mr. Millais and his chums barricaded behind the plasterboard. You've got the grandfather out on the street attempting to say, now, if you exceed 10 people, then I'm afraid we're just going to close this down. Imagine the mood of the crowd when that information is imparted to them. Imagine the grandfather attempting to get back behind the barricades to a place of safety. I rather agree that a barricade is no comfort for the police.
Okay, that's the end of my questioning. Does our legal officer have any questions of Mr. Rankin?
No questions, thank you, Chair.
And Mr. Millais, would you like to ask questions of Mr. Rankin?
The points of rebuttal count as questions, or
yes, if you make a question out of it.
Okay.
Oh, to help you?
Well, firstly, it would be my father, who's definitely not my grandfather's age, and he's well, I mean, they're not legal restrictions, but he's a 6'7" guy, and he would never. We would never leave the premises. You can climb up on the wall of the not of the boarding, but the wall behind the kind of hip high wall, and go, excuse me, guys, you stop.
He wouldn't be out on the street.
No, he wouldn't be out on the street. He wouldn't be out on the street. Everyone would be in the premise.
He'd be shouting at a queue of people, hoping that queue of people would be no more than 10 persons long and no more than 5 meters long.
Exactly.
Is that what's proposed?
Exactly. And I'm just going to restate the how would our bar cause 2 pinch points instead of alleviating one of them? Where would the pinch point arise from? Because it's under my understanding, a pinch point occurs from people traveling in a certain direction and then not being able to get through a tightly squeezed space. If one of the sides of the area that they're trying to get to is the exit, which is essentially crowdless, and the other one is a bar going to the exit, surely that would just alleviate overcrowding on the Colville Road, Colville Terrace corner, instead of directing people around a closed corner on Talbot Road.
All right. The position is this, that we've got an experienced committee here and experienced officers, and living in the real world, we all know precisely what happens at Carnival, and we all know what happens in those side streets during Carnival. And with the best intention of the world, you will want those streets to be clear, but they're not. They've got already allurements there with the sound systems. Pinch points occur when the passage and repassage of pedestrians along those narrow streets is impeded by a facility such as yours. The crowd will quickly form outside. It doesn't matter how many times your father shouts at them. They're still going to be outside clamouring, waiting to get their drink, which they're going to be denied on your evidence. That's how a pinch point is created. I hope that makes sense. There is nothing
It makes complete sense
against you, Mr. Millet.
No. I completely understand that. It does make complete logistical sense, but it's how do I say, slightly frustrating because it goes directly against the experience that we had running it last year. It's not a very busy part of the Carnival, the Colville Road stage. I mean, even Nasty Love at its height is not even half as busy as some of the other stages around Ladbroke Grove or up near more north. I mean, the ease which we experienced running it 2 years ago, which also was operating at a capacity of 2 million people over the Carnival weekend, was that's kind of, I don't know, maybe my not my biggest argument, but that's what I'm considering when I'm reapplying.
Concern is to make this a safe Carnival.
Yeah,
and that's the reason that we're putting in this.
Of course.
Okay, do you have any more questions, Mr. Millais?
No. I wish I had better questions. Sorry about that.
You asked very good questions. Okay, at this stage, I'd like to ask our legal officer to deal with any further issues that she may have, queries.
Nothing from me, Chair. Thank you.
Licensing officers,
Nothing from licensing. Thank you, Chair.
governance, anything to add?
Nothing further from us. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Okay, we've reached the end of the meeting. We will retire for 10 minutes and then we will reconvene at 14:35. I just would like to take this opportunity to ask if everyone is here for the next hearing, then we could crack on straight away.
Yes, I am, and I've got Mark Perry waiting in the wings.
Okay, so Holly, what time can we start that? Bear in mind, we'll need a 5-minute pre-meet.
I think we will discuss it on the separate chat, Madam Chairman. We'll need to wait for some users for the next hearing as well.
So it's 3 o'clock then?
Yeah, but we'll let you know if that changes.
Okay, thank you very much. We will see you in 10 minutes, everyone. Thank you very much.
Is it the same Teams code that will be joining us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you.
Councillor Noor, I think you're still in the meeting. We can still see you on screen.
Holly, is everyone in?
We're just waiting for Councillor Noor to rejoin, then we should be able to announce the decision.
Okay. Police are here.
Double check.
And
So,
Yes,
perfect.
President.
Yeah, all good.
Okay. Wait for Councillor Noor.
Thank you.
Yes, he's here. Okay, whenever you're ready, Madam Chairman, we'll restart the live stream and it's over to you.
Thank you very much. The committee has considered objections from the police and environmental health to a temporary event notice, which has been given by Mrs. Martin and presented by Mr. Millay for the sale by retail of alcohol off the premises at the above premises on Sunday, 24 August and Monday, 25 August, between the hours of 12 and 19 o'clock for a maximum number of 4 people at any one time. The committee has considered the committee papers and the submissions made by both parties, orally and in writing. In reaching its decision, the committee has had regard to the relevant legislation, the Secretary of State's guidance, and the authority's statement of licensing policy. In summary, the committee decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of the case and the prevention of crime and disorder and public safety licensing objectives, to issue a counter notice under Section 105 of the Licensing Act for the event. This notice means permission for the licensable activities requested in the 10 has not been approved. The committee decided that allowing the 10 would in this instance undermine the prevention of crime and disorder and public safety licensing objectives, and it determined to issue a counter notice under Section 105 of the Licensing Act. I thank everyone for their presentations and their patience and their time. I thank the committee. I thank the legal advisors. I thank the police. I thank the applicant. What I would like to say is that we suggest, Mr. Millay, that next year you engage with the police earlier, and you will then apply and also engage with licensing first. Okay? Because we are fine-tuning it as a result of the year before every year, so it's always good to stay abreast of the situation. We thank you for your presentation. Thank you. And a copy of the reasoned decision will be provided without undue delay. If you would like to appeal against this decision, such appeal must be made to the magistrate's court within 21 days from the date of notification of the final decision, but in any event, no later than 5 working days. Thank you, everyone, and I wish you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much for your time. Thanks.
Pleasure, and thank you for your time. Okay, Holly, 3 o'clock. We're going into the
We should be able to start at in maybe in 5 minutes. If you wanted to go back to the pre-meeting, we can yeah, we'll let you know when we've got the premises user.
Okay, have you told Mr. Rankin, etc.?
We will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.